Hey guys, good morning. It's Cecilia, aka ForRealCeil, what 90 days can do, and MLS. How you doing today? Such a dreary, wet, dark day. Go figure. So, how is life treating you guys? I'm hoping that the DPW come and pick up these leaves because we're having puddling issues in the area, which is unsafe for pedestrians and drivers. They need to do this like now because it's been pretty rainy off and on, and what happens is these leaves drop, they block the drain pipes and the water pulls up, and that could be an unsafe condition for a lot of travelers on the road, as well again as for pedestrians, because you got puddles they have to avoid stepping in, and you never really know what's under foliage, where you can't see when you're walking, so it's not good. So here I am. It's a lot of police activity out here. They're doing road construction and all kinds of little utility services all over out here. It's really interesting. A lot of stuff going on a rainy day. So I saw good news this morning. I'm really glad to hear that Newark is working on correcting their failing infrastructure for the water pipes that are lead contaminated sewage pipes. They have an apprentice program. Not sure how it works, but obviously they're training people to be able to help in engineering or repairing those pipes, and that's really good, because if you can learn something like that, that's great, and people will be able to use you in the future, not only for this big project. This is such an important project, but in the future down the line, you'll have experience and can say that you did worked on a huge project like this, and that could go a long way for your future employment, or getting job placement, or getting even looked at for helping out on engineering jobs or construction jobs of that magnitude. So congratulations to all the people who are part of this super important project. God bless you, and thank you for wanting to learn and wanting to grow your expertise in a field that may or may have not been familiar to you at all, and for helping all these households who are struggling and suffering with the effects of lead pipes and lead coming into their homes, poisoning their families. So kudos. Right now I'm driving. I can't stand this weather. I don't like being cold. It's damp, it's wet, it's chilly, it's yucky. But other than that, it's a good day. I'm looking at all the beautiful foliage. I love the color of the leaves. It's really exciting season for me. I remember when I got married. I got married in March. The reason I got married in March was because it was fall, right? And so it was nice. It was really an interesting time. The foliage, the trees were in high bloom and everything. When I said March, I meant October. I'm sorry. This is terrible. Let me just say I am really shot out. I said I got married in March. It was October. Want to say the leaves were in high bloom. They really were pretty vivid colors, and I like that because it made for great pictures, and that's a beautiful time of the year. Although I don't like the coldness of the season, the appropriateness of the atmosphere was a good one. And going back to my other subjects, nature is funny, and nature also plays a role in our moods. So when we are trying to be effective employees, or working towards goals, or doing whatever things is that we do in life, the seasons all play a role. Seasons in life, seasons in time, seasons of your employment, seasons of how you do or do not produce. All of this can be weather related. All of this can be related to the atmosphere, because again, we are beings of habit. We're in nature. Our patterns are based off of habit and what we were taught. In most cases, how we were brought up is how we will live our lives. So when we are brought up in a way that, let's say, for instance, in a farming atmosphere, or you have people who are farmers and their very active times were early spring, where you have to till the ground and start preparing things for planting, and then we're very active during those seasons, like getting the dirt ready, preparing for a garden or planting of seeds and podlings and things like that. And I'm only going from experience of watching my father, but he was a year-round man. Like, this is crazy. But if you grow up in that atmosphere, and that's a busy time for you, and then comes summer, caring and tending for these plants and weeding out weeds and picking fruit and storing stuff and jarring jams and doing other kinds of things with your produce or your yield from your crops, then that's also a very busy time for you. But then as the seasons wind down and the ground starts getting cold, if you are not doing another trait like hunting or doing something else that is a cold time thing, you may be readying up your house for winter. In some climates, some states, some countries, there are certain things that needs to be done to a home to weatherize it before the cold season. You may have to put up additional shutters on the house, or weatherproof your roof, or change how your home is insulated, or prepare to put up livestock, doing things to enable you to make it through a cold season or a stormy season or a winter. And in winter we all slow down and live more calmly and stay indoors more, and take care of the house and tend the family. And those kind of traits, those attributes, those embedded activities they are generational, so they go down the line. So you may have people very active in the summer months or spring, and then in the winter they wind down and everything is slowed down, and it's just like it becomes a chore to operate or coexist in the winter. But then you have people who are busy year round, and then you have people who live in climates where there is no huge or significant change in the weather at all. So you have people who perform under any conditions at all times at the same level, unless they're ill. There are people who trap and who hunt and who work in the cold weather, rescuing people or removing snow or removing leaves, doing landscaping or other things in cold months that go year round, and they're always busy. So they will be able to produce, or they will be able to work throughout most conditions year round. Me, I work in the office. So when it's cold, I know it's cold. Do I do things outdoors in all types of weather? Yes, I do. I love the summer. I love the beach atmosphere. I love being warm. I love going to parks and zoos and amusement parks. And I also like indoor activities. I like museums. I like theater. I like the arts. I also like outdoor sports, fishing and boating, and in the summer and winter. Winter fishing is some of the best fishing, salt water that you can get in certain months, and it can be extremely cold, but you can do very well fishing some big fish. Is it my preference? Do I enjoy it as far as being out in that weather? No, I don't enjoy that. But while you're fishing, things change. You get your adrenaline up, you're moving, you might be freezing, your hands might be cold, your feet might get cold, your ears and stuff. But when you're catching those fish, all that is irrelevant. It's like a trigger. It's like your adrenaline is up. You're thinking about why you're there. Nature is yielding to you these beautiful gifts of fish. The people around you are all doing the same thing, and it's just a beautiful thing. It's really nice, and the same with summertime fishing. I love going out on a pier or on a boat and being around people who are doing the same thing as me. We're all fishing, we're all catching fish, we're all talking about our techniques or our methods or a previous trip or something that we did in common, and that brought us together for that trip. And it turns out to be a good day. You learn something new, which is awesome, because I love learning. I love learning every day. It doesn't matter what the subject is. If I could learn one new thing a day, I feel great about that. I got new invigoration. I really was not motivated in some areas of my life personally, and I put out a post on one of my social media platforms, and one of my coaches reached out to me and they said, hey, we could try to help you meet your goals and this and that, and we want to set up some coaching calls and get you back on track with your prospecting. So I said, okay, well, good, I'm down for that. So I'm getting myself back into joining my webinars, actively seeking out my properties and doing things that I know will help me further down the line. And I need to go into looking at this in contracts, because it's really important to know and be ready for that. And I'm at the point where I'm ready for that. I need to have that firmly implanted in my mind and get that down pat without a question, because it will save time, it will save money. You have to know. Knowing is half the battle. If you don't know, somebody can tell you anything. You can put stuff on paper all you want. If you don't know what you're putting down, you could be in a world of trouble. So those contracts, those essential items that I need to know in regard to purchasing, whether it's subject to, whether it's assigned to, whether it's a contract between my business and a seller, or whether it's a rental contract, whatever it is, it has to be done right. So my mindset, I'm going to be doing some webinars and going on coaching calls, some Q&A calls, and continue to build my education on that, because again, have to be ready. When you're not ready, things just slip through your hands. Right now, we're working on a budget at my job. I never had to do a budget before, right? And this is a good example about learning new stuff every day. I know what our program does. I've been in the same field for 25 years. I never had to write a budget. I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm like, damn, my director does this, not only for one grant, but for several. It's a lot of work. It's really a lot of wording, a lot of knowledge of policy, a lot of co-efforts, because not only one department has to have an involvement in this. It's a collaboration of other directors, cohesiveness of wording, knowing what role each department plays in making your unit or program a whole, because we have the fiscal aspect, we have the director, we have the management, we have the staffing, we have the supervisors, we have the outreach, we have marketing, we have all of this stuff that ties into making and generating your budget and getting it down. And for people who do this on a regular basis, people who have this under their belt, it's like, oh, what is she talking about is normal. Everybody knows that. Not everybody knows that, because not everybody does that. Because I have been doing this program, like I said, for 25 years, and I have never had to write a budget or ask for a grant, because that's what executive directors do. I'm not an executive director, and I was not a director of my program. I'm a manager in that program. I coordinate the program. I don't seek the grants and continually go after the grants for the program. So I could have sat back like an idiot and been like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. No, I do not. I had to tell my director and my executive director, look, I need you to explain this to me. You're telling me the RFP and then Sage and then this and then that, and I'm like, is the RFP the actual Word document that I need to review, just go over, add some additional notes and wording based on what is actually going on in my program, because I do control what happens with my staffing, with my team, with the hours, with the days that we see clients, and with the workflow, and with filing, and with management and stuff like that, and with reporting. I do all of that. However, in order to put it into context for a budget and do an RFP, so a request for a proposal, it's a form. And then Sage, which is the database that they have the grants and stuff, is a database. It's a web page where they have all the grant information and the agency information, so on and so forth. So I'm looking and I'm like, okay, do I have to put all this stuff in there, or what do I do? So I asked, and it's a good thing to ask when you don't know. I'm reviewing. That's all I have to do. And at this time, my director is out, and I have to pick up some slack. I have to help. So knowing what I'm doing so I could perform effectively is super important. So when I ask the question, hey, you have to learn how to ask questions that will enable you to get the answer that you need for something to click in you. Because it was like, okay, I asked a question about a financial worksheet, a spreadsheet I sent, and then I said, well, please explain. I have never done this before. I am confused. Am I putting this information into Sage, or am I just reviewing the Word document itself and adding in keynotes or changing information or criteria that I believe is inaccurate? Or am I updating based on this current year, from a previous RFP? So that way I was able to get my answers, so I could know exactly what I'm doing and what my role in helping to get this prepared before the deadline is. Had I not asked, I'd have been sitting around trying to stuff that shit into a report in Sage, and then I would have been wrong, because it wasn't what I needed to do. So that way I got clarification. So asking about a duty, asking what my performance during this time frame needs to be in order to get the best results possible is important. And it all goes back to seasons, just like people. There was a phrase that people are born into your lives for a certain period of time, some for a day, some for a minute, some for an instant, some for a season, and that may be true. And what is your season? Is your season a minute? Is your season an hour? Is your season a day? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it a year? Is it infinity? What is your season? Where does your season end? Who is involved in that season? What are you giving or gaining in that season? Is there a time for you to learn, a time for you to grow, a time for you to cry, a time for you to smile, a time for you to laugh, a time for you to prosper, a time for you to face defeats or fears, or what is all of that about? And again, it goes back to our grooming, our upbringing, and our ethics, I think, have a large part of how we live and how we are affected during the changes that we go through. And those changes could be either, again, the atmosphere, the actual season, or the climate that we are in at the moment. Because, like I said, it's a bleak, dreary day. I don't like being cold and challenged, but right this minute, I'm in my car. I'm nice and warm. I'm talking to you guys, and I'm driving to work. Some people don't have a car. Some people walking. Some people on a bus. Some people on a train. Some people are just home. Some people are homeless. Some people don't have a job to go to. So there's a lot of different things out there, when I'm truly blessed. So do I complain? Nope. I'm sharing information. I'm just having a conversation of stuff that's going through my mind, and I'm decluttering and de-stressing and putting stuff out there is food for thought. Interesting or not, for some it may be fascinatingly interesting, and then for others it may just be like, really, again, she's talking and it doesn't make no sense. But for those who can dissect and those who are thinkers, they will always have a point of interest, no matter what the topic is. So I talk off the top of my head. Sometimes I mix up my ideas. It just depends on really what I feel like talking about. And that's what's so great about freedom of speech. I can say boobity boo ba buddy, and if I feel like saying it all day, then that's what I'm gonna say, or hip hip hooray. But I gotta be careful with that one, because Naughty by Nature had that, hey, and I can't be taking people's words and using them. But what I can say is that I enjoy, sharing information. I enjoy sharing my opinions, of course. I enjoy learning. I listen to a lot of people. Like I said, I have a great mentor in Darry Perkins, and oh my God, this guy, like, he's so smart. Like, he knows everything, and I'm just like, I say he knows everything. Of course, he doesn't know everything, but really, it seems that way, but he's opened my eyes to so much stuff, and I've learned so much from being just in his presence and being a member of his club and being a part of the trading group. It is an awesome experience, and I've learned from members that are in our club too. We share ideas, we share ideals, I have some very powerful teammates, and I have some very powerful people I've just become acquainted with through the program, who are very intellectual individuals and who have regular lives just like you and I, and go through the same shit that you and I may go through, and still produce, still have effective lives, and impact other people's lives with their actions, or with their programs, or with their platforms, or with their beliefs, or what their drives are. And I love that, because, like I said, I'm always having an entrepreneur spirit. I've been a giver all my life, and I grew up very poor. I used to watch my cousins, and I was never jealous, but I just didn't understand how, their lives were so different than ours, and it's all based on, opportunity and growth. But the things that make or break us as individuals occurs with wealthy people. It occurs with poor people. It occurs with white people. It occurs with black people. It occurs with, all different nationalities and all different types of people. So don't think that just because your life at the moment, or in the season, in the element, is not what you believe it should be, it may be exactly what God wants it to be. It may be that that's where you're supposed to be in life, and things change. Things change for the better. Sometimes they change for the worse. And at all times, we should be grateful and take the time to learn from whatever it is that we're going through. And I have a lot of weight on my shoulders. Like I said, I know a lot of stuff about a lot of people, and I'm praying for a lot of people. You know, people share information with me. They share their struggles with me. They share their problems with me. I got people with health issues. I got people with housing issues. I got people with, you know, a lot of stuff going on in their lives. And I care about a lot of people, and I carry that weight because I don't like to see people suffering. I don't like to see people sad or in trouble or in pain or going through things. And just knowing that, and being a program manager, and even knowing jeopardies of our program, and how, you know, how the successes of having an effective program could determine somebody's future as far as employment. How the state just manipulates people and controls things, and could actually I don't want to say derail a program or organization by playing with funding and changing rules and not thinking logically, or even putting into play the cost of running or administering or anything. You know, it's just a lot that goes into a lot more than just numbers that go into having a successful program or platform. And when people are working with grants and funding from the state to administer a program or anything like that, it's always subject to changes. And some of those changes are hard changes for the staffing or for the agencies that administer the programs, and all kinds of stuff. So you gotta be resilient. Gotta be resilient. I look at that, and I look at the people I work with, and I watch them. You know, it's like you see stuff. You know, you see emotions. You see sometimes stress, pain that is unrelated to work. You know, people carry burdens with them all the time. And as a program manager, if they feed into me and they tell me and stuff, I carry that too, because I'm looking now, I'm like, wow, I had no idea. Or, yeah, I knew that, but I was just waiting for you to tell me something, you know. And it's just like, wow, I want to be a supportive program manager and a confident and friend, and I have to let people know that, you know, their troubles are only for a season. It can be evolved, and it can change, you know. I'm praying steadfastly for so many people, and I'm praying for my own, you know, seasons and my own atmospheres and things that are going on in my own time frame. So, you know, again, going back to the mood of today does not have to be your mood for every day. The mood for your harvest, it doesn't have to be the same. You know, are you building? Are you seeking knowledge? Are you growing? Are you preparing? Or are you harvesting? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself, and you need to know your season and your element, and think about, well, where do you want to be tomorrow? Who do you want in your circle? Are you going back, or are you moving forward? Are you keeping with the ideals or the things that you were taught growing up, and are you practicing the best behavior in order to reach your goals and be driven and stay motivated and stay helpful and stay cheerful and stay productive? So all of these things that go back to your season. Who's in your circle? How you interact with them while they're in your circle, what results you get from being there, or what have you put out into the universe. So think about all those things, and why I say that, I'm going to leave you with that and give you something to think about. It's food for thought, and this is ForRealCeil. You know what 90 days can do. MLS, crowdfunding, Avon, CTFO, Savings Highway, entrepreneur, ForRealCeil LLC, and Fortune Builders Mastery student. So many hats, so many program manager of, home energy assistance. I could go on and on and on. I have titles for days. But what's in here and what's in here, nobody can take away, okay? Have a great day. Bye-bye.